Would help if I unmuted myself, but we are recording now, so we will get started. So again, thank you, welcome. My name is Vivian Williams, and I'm joined by Dana Hunter, and she is my partner in NEPA Gives. So many of you have emailed or called both of us, and that's who you get when you email or call us. We're just going to quickly go through the agenda here. So we're just going to give you a brief NEPA Gives update for you all to know in comparison and how big the day is getting set up to be. We're going to go through matching gifts, what are matching gifts, what are challenges. I know many of you have been securing some, and we have been receiving some as well. We'll also go through the Give Gab setup of both matches and challenges. I have seen some of you already put them on there, which is wonderful. So those that haven't will be able to look here. And then also there might be some tools that you didn't know to maximize the matching and challenges and to get the word out to all the donors that will be giving on NEPA Gives. We'll go over some definitions and eligibility. In here and NEPA Gives 2021, we have a couple sneak peeks, if you would, of one or two of our incentives that will be loading up in the next couple of days, as I know many of you are eager to strategize and to learn about what we are offering that day. And then lastly, some Q&A time. And again, this is in webinar view, so please feel free to use both the Q&A and chat. And a team member from SAF will be monitoring that. And ideally, we'll be answering all the calls at the end, unless there's something that comes up that you guys are asking that's relevant to, let's say, the slide that we're on. So a quick NEPA Gives update. We've got this, no one's counting, but we are 23 days away from NEPA Gives, which is our region's largest giving day. We have over 200 registered causes this year, 7 sponsoring partners in 8 counties that are represented within those 200 plus organizations. We welcomed a new partner this year. The Community Foundation of the Endless Mountains joined our community foundation partners in sponsoring NEPA Gives. So we'd like to give them a great shout out for being part of this. Now, many of you either, like I had mentioned, have already utilized the matching feature, are familiar with matching gifts. In a very generic, broad sense that's not related to virtual fundraising or NEPA Gives, a match is just like you would consider in fund development. An employer, let's say, would match the employee's gift to their designated nonprofit. So if someone made a $250 gift to you, then that employer would match it. This is more of matching gifts or pledge donations from generous donors. It could also be from a business, but in essence, it's a donor matching the gifts that are to be received on NEPA Gives. So there are 2 types of matches, if you would, here. I knew that was going to happen. There's a 1-to-1 match, which each time an eligible gift is made, a corresponding offline gift is added to your totals. So if someone makes a $25 donation, it will be set up in your profile through GiveGab that a $25 offline donation will be attached to your donor's donation on that day. There is also, a 2-to-1 match, a 3-to-1 match. You could actually make that ratio whatever you would like in GiveGab. However, a 1-to-1 match is usually the most regular match that people think of. Though if you have a larger match sponsor, which is amazing, you may want to do a 2-to-1 match to kind of increase giving. GiveGab does say about 80% or so organizations raise more in the hours they have matches associated than the rest of the giving day. So, if you really want to incentivize the match, maybe, you know, a $25 donation gets you 75 with a 2-to-1 match. Completely up to you and your team. And then there's challenges. So the difference between a match and a challenge is that when a threshold or goal is met, the whole pledge donation amount will be added to your totals. So for instance, if a donor says, I will match $1,000 for the first $1,000 raised. So as soon as your $1,000 total hits, that challenge or match will be released. You can also do it during certain hours. So if, you know, you say, if we have $500 donated between the hours of 2 and 4, because maybe that's the slowest time that you think your donors are going to give. Most of the time that I'm telling you is from GiveGab's research, since we only have 1 year to necessarily look upon, but usually like 2 to 4, 7 to 9, you know, the hours that people are either, you know, at work, making dinner, doing their daily routine is usually the slowest hours of giving, they say. So you may want to say between the hours of 2 and 4, we'll match 500 for 500. So you designate those 2 hours, and then you, once you reach that total, the total is then released into your total giving. So as I was speaking on some of these, but just to review of the benefits of matches and challenges. So organizations with matching funds raise on average 4 times more than the organizations without a match. Opportunity to highlight existing donors and sponsors. So you could put a huge push and highlight the sponsor or donor that is matching your funds. And I'll show you on towards the end, I took a look at some of your profiles that are coming together nicely. And I saw some that were highlighting them, which is always wonderful for those that support our community to be highlighted. It also motivates potential donors to have a greater potential impact by donating when their gift is matched. So, you know, the sales pitch to someone who might be donating $1,000 is that, you know, you'll help us to strategize an additional $1,000 just by donating your $1,000. So you'll have a double impact and be able to raise more by leveraging the donor that gave you the original match. And then easily feature active matches on your Giving Day profile. And I will show you that too, as some have done that as well. The match is right on your landing page. So if someone comes onto your profile and they want to take a look at all that you have to offer, it's right there front and center. So some of you, like I have mentioned, have sponsors. Though potential match sponsors could be any of these that are included here: board members, local business, corporation, community members, existing donors. You know, the normal traditional match of, you know, businesses matching employee giving. This is really thinking outside of the box of saying, you know, I have a community member that's going to give $500. Maybe they would consider, you know, making it $500 with a match that then totals $1,000 that they're helping support your organization. The key, though, is to educate your match sponsors on the benefit their gift can provide and how their contribution is stretched for greater overall impact. You know, matching gifts to some, I think we all take for granted that we understand it. We work in this world of fund development and, you know, knowing how to raise dollars that's important to our bottom line and our cause. Some don't. So, you know, you have a community member or a local business. I always say, you know, we all speak different languages, if you would. So they might not see the benefit of matching their gift, or even a board member knowing that their, you know, their donation can also support double what you were intending it to be. And the corporations can also get their name out and also show their local giving, which is a great thing to have our local businesses show their support of our philanthropic region, if you would. So get creative. You know, I talked to a couple of you and brainstormed some ideas with you, and you guys are on a roll. So, you know, nothing's too out of the box, especially in the times we are. So, you know, use sponsorship dollars or other incentives to motivate giving during your giving day. You know, so if you have a sponsor that might be willing to donate an in-kind incentive, or, you know, donate a prize of a gift card to the person who brings in the most number of donors or the number of dollars in your peer-to-peer fundraising. You know, make it fun so that you're maximizing on a multitude of levels. You're maximizing your peer-to-peer fundraising, you're maximizing your sponsorship dollars, and then you're also maximizing your match dollars potentially. Motivate donors to give by using each donation as an entry for a special incentive. You know, you can model it similar to what we model ours, our incentives as a whole for NEPA gives. You know, you could say, you know, the donors that donate between 2 and 4, which are matched, as I mentioned, let's say you have a donor that's going to match $1,000 during 2 and 4, and then you motivate the donors to say, every entry from 2 to 4 will enter you into $100 gift card donation from one of your local businesses that sponsors your organization regularly. You know, or, you know, something that maybe your clientele would like or your donors are interested in. You know, you could have a special incentive tied to your match if you would. And as I said, nothing's out of, you know, I wouldn't discount anything, and I would, you know, brainstorm with your team and those that you are using with your NEPA Gives Day to do that. I know last year the Ritz actually had, if they reached a certain amount of dollars, Michael Melcher was going to shave his head. They reached half of the goal, so he shaved half his head. But it's fun things like that that keep you motivated through the day. It's a 24-hour day of giving. That we want to highlight all our region's greatness. So have fun with it. So how to add a match. As I mentioned, some of you, this may be, you know, repeat. Some of you, it may be new. So this is your giving day dashboard, if you would. So we talked about it before about how you need all your green arrows to light up. In the right-hand corner, it's not here, but it would tell you how many days until your matching day, until your giving day. It would also tell you if you're approved or not. But this is just a general one. So on the right-hand side, it's going to say manage sponsor matching, and you will select that. This will come up and you will want to add a match commitment. So again, as you see, there are match commitments and there's challenge commitments. So we're going to go through the match commitment first. And I will have this available afterwards, the slide presentation too, so you can go slide by slide. As I know on my laptop, it's very small print, if you would. A lot of this is very similar to your profile setup or your peer-to-peer fundraising setup. So some of these things you should already have in your toolbox, if you would, and some of them that are new, probably you've utilized in other capacities before. So you want to select your image, you want to create your sponsor name, you want to put their URL if you want, if they want to be recognized, if they want people to be driven to their page. You also have here this little box that says keep sponsor anonymous. So you do have the ability if someone wants to, you know, give a gift and match but not want to be recognized, you can do that. You want to match name, so you can be creative as you want. As many of our incentives, we try to be creative. The description, so, you know, a 2-to-1 match, you know, a 3-to-1 match, or, you know, your match, and then maybe a description of any incentives you may have tied to that particular match. You have your total matching funds available there. So that's where you'll put how much you want the match to be, 500, 1,000. And then G is maximum match per individual donation. So if you have $1,000 if you have $1,000 matching funds available and you want it to really incentivize giving during those 2 hours, because you're running, an incentive along with that, you're not going to want someone who might make maybe a $500 donation take those matching funds. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. This is where you would put it in. That maximum match maybe is $100. So maybe you want to have the maximum donation amount to be matched is $100. It will do that if that donor still gives $500. It will just match the first $100 for this matching event, if you would. And then down here, matching donation start time. Again, as I mentioned, the 2 to 4 time, you want to do it from 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Those will be all in here. It's not really pertinent to us because we are in Eastern time, but GiveGab does do match days throughout the country. So you just want to be aware that all time that you are entering is in Eastern Standard Time. Then down here, you'll see this little arrow. And if you can make out these words, enable auto matching. So that is where, as I mentioned, every $25, $50 donation will automatically be matched with an offline gift to it. So you can either have GiveGab's analytic, like there's the back end do it, or if you would like to do it, maybe you have a different idea of how you want to do your match. GiveGab tries to meet everybody's needs, but at times if you have something out of the box, they want you to run with it, but they also don't want to match it just for you. So this checkbox is defaulted checked. So just so you are all aware that when you do enter all of this, this will already be checked for you. Now, how to add a challenge. As I mentioned, the challenge is a lump sum. So you are trying to reach a challenge of $1,000, of $2,500. It is still a match because that donor is looking to have their overall total matched. However, they want to create a challenge that you have to reach a certain threshold before they release their funding. So again, the landing page is obviously where we're going to go, very similar to before. Instead, you're going to add a challenge here. And this is a little bit different here, as you can tell. You want to select your image. Again, this is the same stuff. Select your image, sponsor name, their URL, the challenge name, the description, if you would. And then there's the challenge type. I don't have the drop down here on this one, but the challenge type could be, as I mentioned, a dollar challenge. So right here, the challenge goal, you would put 500. A challenge amount would be 500. So you want to raise 500 to release 500. Let's say, though, you want to do a donor match. So let's say you want 25 donors between the hours of 2 and 5. So you would drop down here and select donor match. You would do challenge goal of 25. So the challenge goal is related back to the challenge type. So you would put 25 here as you're talking about donors. And then the challenge amount again would be that 500. So you're telling your match that when 25 donors give, this challenge amount will be released. And then again, they just want to remind you that it is in Eastern Standard Time. And then right above the arrow, you can hardly see it as I can hardly see it. It's a little box called archived. So if you're at 6, 7 o'clock at night and you've met this particular challenge goal, let's say you have 2 or 3 that you're running throughout the day and one ends, you can archive this one. So it will take it off your landing page to view. It will still be in your account, As many of you have noticed, when you signed up, you had the opportunity to copy and paste your profile from last year. Next year, you'll be able to do the same thing. You'll actually almost be able to also copy and paste your peer-to-peer fundraising and your sponsor matches and whatnot. So it's a great tool, though you also might not want to bog down your profile with expired matches per se. So how to deplete your match. Now this will be for, again, a match and a challenge, if you would. Let's say you have a time set of 12. This one, it's a 12 to 12 and you're getting towards that 12 a.m. mark. And let's say, as you can see here, they reached 41,000 and their total was 50,000. So at this moment, there is nothing released of this 5,000. If you would like to make sure that it gets added in your total, so you have an accurate account of your overall total, which includes your matches, your offline donations, and your online donations, what you can do is hit this button, deplete match, and it will auto add this $5,000, if you would, to your total. I don't know if many, most matches are, you raise 1,000, you get 1,000, maybe a donor that was going to give it to you anyway, there's less restrictions, they're going to give it to you, but you want to harness that $500. But you also want to make sure it's accounted at the end of the day in your total, because that gift would have come to you anyway. This is where you want to hit. And it is in either the match or the challenge, if you would. It's right on that particular one. So when you go back to organization sponsoring matches, up here you'd hit manage donations, and all your matches would come up, and then you want to deplete it. So matching a cause. I know this has come up once or twice, and it can get a little, down the level pyramid almost, if you would. But some of you have put it on there, and I have pulled it as examples towards the end of our time together. Let's say your organization has particular causes that they want to raise money for. So you have, the YMCA wants to raise money for their early education program, but also wants to raise money for their aquatics program. You can do that by adding a support area. Let's take one step further, that you have a donor that says, I love the aquatics program, so I want to match the $500 that I'm about to give to the aquatics program. You can do that too. And this is where you would do that with them. So as you can see here, we at the foundation have our funds that are also participating with us, which is wonderful, which enables them to give more to our community as well. So you will want to go to manage support funds. This is what will come up because you've added these. And then you're going to edit one. So I just hit this one, the Diamond Scholarship Fund. It's your profile, your donation levels, your fundraisers. Again, it's very similar to when you set up your profile, when you set up your peer-to-peer fundraising. A lot of it is very simplistic. So you can almost, from one feature to another, know where you're navigating. But here you'll go to matching and then be able to do that. And I believe I have an example here for you. Oh no, I'm sorry. Jumping ahead of myself. So this is where you would put it. You can, again, share your page from it. And that is how you would be able to do the match. It would look exactly like your overall page match. You would just go to the cause, and the cause would have the match. So again, it's a little further down in the page because you're already adding the cause that's on the main page of your NEPA Gives, which I will show you what that looks like if you're a visual person shortly. And then here, this is just, a tip that in doing my own research, I'm not a GiveGab expert. I don't claim to be. I've taken all of this information I am sharing with you from, if you look down here by Get Prepared, I've gone on GiveGab's webinars, workshops, have gone on their blog site and whatnot. But one thing they often recommend is embed a donation button. And you'll see here what that is. So it's very simple. You go to the embed, which is again on the right-hand side of your main dashboard. And you could either do it for your main cause giving page, if you just have your overall giving page and no particular set causes, or again, you can go to a particular cause, the aquatics or the early childhood education one. So I'll pick this one for now. You could, very simple. You just change what it says, donate now, challenge now, be creative if you want. The color, very basic, but still you can change the color if you'd like. And then it will show you what it looks like here. And then you can copy this to embed it. But if you click that, if you click the donate once it's up, you will see what your embedding looks like. So you will be able to then take that link, embed it in an e-blast, embed it on your front page of your website, embed it on your Facebook if you want. Again, it's all very, let's see if this loads. It's all very personalized, so you can share your overall one. You can share any of the causes you have, if you want to target. A couple of the readings had said, again, I go back to the aquatics example, but if you have a whole aquatics team and you want to navigate them right to your cause, this would be the perfect opportunity. Or if you just want to navigate them to your cause in general. So either one will work here. We want to remind you to have some fun, right? So it's a 24-hour giving day that we all love at the foundation, to watch you guys get excited, support you in any way we can. As I mentioned, a lot of you are excited about and have been asking about some of our incentives. We do have some fun incentives that we are working through right now to put up and make look snazzy for you all. Though, since you all took the time out, I thought to share a couple with you here. They are regional, so there are some that are regional. And what that means is that all participating organizations and causes are eligible. So we have an 8-county reach. So the regional ones will be open for everybody. And then there'll be county-specific ones for Lackawanna, Luzerne, Wayne, Wyoming, Carbon, Monroe, and Pike. I think I named them all. So you'll want to look as you scroll through the incentives and just make sure you read all of the parameters of that potential incentive. We have labeled regional, so you all will know, so you can see which ones you're gonna strategize for. And ideally the regional ones will be at the top of the page. So when you click it, you'll see the ones that everybody qualifies for. So here are a couple that, take no strategy if you would, or you push people to give at certain times and from certain places. So NEPA gives kickoff. We're going to do the closest donation to 6:04 a.m., which is NEPA Gives Day, June 4th. So last year it was a really, really fun one for us to even look at. So what happens and what the purpose of that is to drive your donations. So any $10 donation can win you $1,000 if you want to put it that way. But in the end, it gives you more donors, it gives you more donations, and an all around happy day for us. Oh, what a year. We're going to do the same thing with 2021. We are going to do it in military time at night. And I do not know that time right now. I don't know if Maggie's on, she's an expert in military time, but it will be 2021 military time at night.
8:21 in the evening.
8:21 p.m. So mark your count, put a notification in your phone to call everybody at 8:15 and tell them at 8:20, 21, they want to make their donation. And then far, far away. So we have figured out, again, our guru Maggie figured out the center point of the 8-county reach, and the donation that goes the farthest from that will win that prize. And we had that last year for Lackawanna, but we want to see where you all can get donations from. It was awesome to look last year, I think, from, you know, Australia, New Zealand, the Middle East, all the different countries that we had donations from. So where is it, Maggie?
Don't know the exact GPS coordinates, but it's essentially over the Elmhurst Reservoir. Is the center point for all of the 8-county region. So we have the GPS coordinates, so we'll be using that to be able to finalize the furthest donor.
Yeah, so thank you. So those are just some of the fun ones we have that, you know, everybody will qualify for. It doesn't take, you know, a development staff of 10. It could be a volunteer organization. It's just about fun and being aware of when you're going to make your donation, and you know, trying to reach out to family and friends far, far away. Or as our friends at NeighborWorks did, they had they have a Vista program that they participate in, and were able to contact some of their alumni that then reached out to their alumni, their friends. So again, it gets you more donations, it gets you more donors and people to reach out to cultivate after our giving day. So as you can see, we have Maggie here with the stamp of approval, because that's what she is. She's our approval and our processor here, if you would. I just want to go over some definitions, and then Maggie can hit on eligibility. As I want you all to know that we put a lot of time and effort into developing all of this to make sure it's fun, it's equitable, everybody has a fair time, everybody has a fair chance, and that we're all maximizing everything in the spirit of local giving, which again is what it all comes down to. It's showcasing our region's great talents that you all support and work for. So the definition of a refresh rate. So one thing that we will add this year, and I'm going to show you here, only online donation amounts are updated in real time. So this year we have a great tool, and this is from Give Local York, which has already happened. And I have no doubt we will get there one day and raise $3 million for our region. But what happens during the day is this landing page will actually be on the front page. So this outcome and results is updated probably every 15 to 20 minutes, if you would. You know, Give Local Live up here is second to second within 10 seconds. So this will be your tally that will just keep going up and up and up. Over here will be your donors. So as the donors come in, that's why your logo was so important. Your logo, their donation, the name if they want. Again, I think many of you that joined us last year know that donors can make anonymous gifts. They can also be super anonymous, which means their gift is anonymous and their information is anonymous. So don't ever think that someone makes a donation, they're getting on a list, because they don't have to. Get on a list if you would. And then down here, it's just going to showcase, you know, how many organizations are participating. And as it said on the slide here, only online donations amount are up to date in real time. The donor org stats, the single offline donations take about 1 or 2 minutes. So you will be able to check more frequent than just going on our regular given day for donors, gifts, and of course, text to give. We will have a text to give that we will include in our future communications for you all. But you will be able to share that with your donors, and it will direct them back to NEPA Gives in general, which will then let them pick your page. So unique donors, I know some last year had asked, you know, we have gifts and donations, how come they don't match, or how come one's larger than the other number wise? So a unique donor is defined by an email. So if one donor gave to 2 orgs, they would count as a unique donor to each of those orgs, but to the total giving day, it would only be 1 unique donor. So that's why sometimes the numbers often look skewed, but they're not. They're trying to really grab accurate data for the given day at large, and then each one of your organizations. And then a gift is a single donation made to that organization, regardless of the email. So take the above example, there would be 2 gifts counted regardless of the same person or email address. So there's 1 unique donor that made 2 gifts, or it could even be if that donor, again, was trying to get you the timed gifts and made 4 different $10 donations at 4 different times. They are only a unique donor once, but they donated 4 gifts. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense. It took a while to wrap my brain around it, but I'm going to let Maggie kind of touch on the eligibility as you start to take note of all the incentives that we're going to offer this year.
Hi, everyone. We just want to make sure that we are creating a system that is fair and equitable for as many people as possible. And so we appreciate all your efforts, and we encourage you to work towards as many prizes as you are able. But when it comes time for the selection of the awards, we just want to make sure that there's a equal access to those. I think the most important thing to point out here is that offline gifts will not be eligible for prizes. It's the cleanest way of ensuring that everybody has a fair chance at the prizes, and to make sure that there's no level of confusion. This will mean that if you have a matching gift or a challenge gift, and we'll put those into the chat. If you actually even just go to GiveGab support and search challenge or search match, there's some great articles about those, about the differences between those two. But because of the way that those are entered into the system, as Vivian kind of showed us earlier, those are occurring offline because the donor is not actually going in and donating it online. If they are, you don't want to enter them into the system ahead of time. Entering them in the system ahead of time is basically entering them as an offline gift. I'm sorry, Vivian, can you go back real quick? Yeah, okay, so, yeah, so when you enter them in there as a match or a challenge, those will be considered offline. Now, that said, if you are really leveraging those opportunities, then chances are that you will have significant online gifts as well that will make you also potentially eligible for these prizes. So, you know, we don't want to discourage you in any way from thinking that this will, you know, disqualify you. But in fact, it actually might give you even more of a leg up if you're working towards those matches. It gives an even better incentive for donors to give to you online on June 4th. Right now, we are stating that you can only win one competitive hourly prize, but you would be eligible for other random or other prizes. We may end up reassessing this at a certain point, and what will be the final determinants will be on our prize page when we have those all posted. So we really heavily encourage you that not only when you're taking a good look at the prizes once that page is announced and published, to also take a look at the rules at the bottom of the page. That'll specify exactly how we will be able to distribute the prizes, and if there are any limitations on those, and whether you can be capped at a certain point. And again, this ensures that, you know, it's not the same organization winning half the prizes. You know, it ensures everybody kind of has an equal chance to it. This becomes especially important when we're dealing with smaller organizations that might not have the development staff to help strategize on every single prize. So that, again, not that we're trying to discourage anybody, we encourage you to go for all the prizes, because again, you might not know until the end of the day which prize you're winning and which, you know, you might not. So it's just best to kind of do your best to go for as many as possible, and let the chips fall where they may. That said, again, we heavily encourage you to take a look at the rules once the prize page is uploaded, so that you can clearly understand what's going on. If once it's posted that you do have questions, you know, you feel free to reach out. But until then, you know, we would say hold off on your questions until we finalized exactly what we're doing with the rules. So the organization size is determined by the operating budget information that you had provided at the time that you registered. So there were 3 category levels, and I apologize, I can't remember off the top of my head. I believe it was under $100,000 yearly budget would be considered a small organization. Between the $100,000 and $500,000 mark is a medium-sized organization, and then organizations that have a budget of $500,000 or more would be the large organization. But at any rate, that is something that you self-identified at the time that you registered, and so that's where we base that information off of. Lastly, I just also want to mention that it might be important for you to ensure that on your page you have specified your cause areas if you haven't already done so. So there are your 3 cause areas that would be listed on your profile. There may be, we're working right now, there may be certain prizes that are based upon that particular cause area. So you want to make sure that those areas are up to date and accurate for your organization, so that you have the opportunity to potentially win other prizes that might be based on your cause area. Vivian, was there anything else you wanted me to cover as far as the eligibility?
No, I think so. I think that's it. And at the end, I'll share with you a date that we're going to have if you want a last call. And the prizes will be up by then. So, you know, I understand the capacity of all that you are working on and with. So, you know, jot them down as you take a look, and you can always ask them that day, because others may have the questions and just not know it until you ask. Right. So thanks, Maggie.
Yep, and it looks like Dana has a comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that you guys will be notified when the prizes are ready, so don't think we're going to sneak them in. There will be an email that is sent out when they are up and ready. They are not yet, but when they are, there will be an email, so everyone will be able to see them at that point.
Thanks, Dana. And, you know, we're not sneaking anything in on you. I think this year we have a larger pool and we have more prizes. And as I mentioned, we have a regional pool as well. So that takes time just to put in and to make sure we're doing our due diligence. So it's actually exciting that you're getting them this close, because that means there's more of them to win, if you would.
Yeah, we're excited to announce them. And I do see some questions that have come in. We'll answer, just so you know, all questions at the end. So if we haven't covered it already.
Great. So just what's out there, as I mentioned before, you know, just looking at your profiles, if you would. I'm a visual person, so I just wanted to share a couple that have utilized and harnessed the features of GiveGab. You know, here we have the Boys and Girls Club. They listed their match. You can see here, it's the Hawk Family Foundation. And, you know, they put their URL, so you can click and learn more about them. You know, you can click the match if you would to see more about them. And then, you know, you can click see more matches. So if they had more matches, they would all be listed here. You could then donate directly to the match. You see this little ticker bar, if you would, so it will keep updating as they get closer to the match. And then, you know, it's really easily navigatable, so you can view profile. And then, you know, maybe you just want to make a donation to the organization as a whole, or you want to fundraise, you can go back to their landing page. Here, the Greater Wyoming Valley YMCA, you can see they put some great pictures with their levels. So you can read, you know, sponsor one child for one day in the YMCA, and you're actually visualizing and seeing those children here for $25. The other thing here is fundraising campaigns. So that is the cause. As I mentioned, there's no aquatic fundraiser here, but they have different scholarships within the YMCA. So this is where all your fundraising campaigns would be. And you'll be able to click donate to go to any one of those. And again, your fundraiser leaderboard, if you would, that's there. Here's another one, the Friends of the Poor, with their match, as you see here. So, there's also volunteer opportunities, which is great to utilize throughout the year, if you would, or if some people, are finding your organization for the first time and want to learn more of what they can do. There's, you could actually list a couple of them. And this is what it brings you to. If you've logged in as a donor and it, has your information per se from your donation, you can just hit sign up. And what's that? And it will say successfully signed up. So your information will go back to Friends of the Poor. And then after this, it will also send you an email. I thought I had an example of that email. And then again, here's Marley's mission with their different pictures. I think these are really eye-catching, even as the YMCA had theirs. You really visualize the people and the causes and what they're working for. I will say a lot of you have put a video, which is great. And then again, here's, their fundraisers, and then, it pulls over the video and the story for that fundraiser. So you're also helping your peer-to-peer fundraisers as you build your profile. I just want you all to remember that. And that's why I pulled this one up. So, your peer-to-peer fundraisers will also have these visuals to show to their friends. I think there was one more. No, there wasn't. So GiveGab support and resources, again, I'm not the expert. I don't think any of us are. I've utilized all of these great resources to find the information that I've shared with you over the last 5 or 6 months. And GiveGab will answer any questions you have. The blog has other giving days that have blogged about their successes and what they've learned. So I would highly suggest you visit them as well. And again, we always like to give this disclaimer that we are not the experts. There's a training center here, so that would probably be your first line of attack to go through here and look through the training videos, if you would. You can always look for the chat blue bubble, blue chat bubble, which is always on the bottom right-hand corner of GiveGab's page. And they will always get back to you, or at least give you a time frame of when they will respond. They usually respond within 24 hours with their normal business days that they put on there. And then the last thing we have here, because I want to get to some of the questions. I don't want to rush anybody, but I want you all to have your questions answered. As I mentioned, we're having a last call. So May 24th at noon, we'll have just an informal time from 12 to 1 that you can log in, ask a question, or, I will be reaching out to some of you who have really capitalized and utilized your profiles this year and some of our champions from last year to maybe join us and just have a conversation or, a brainstorming time. As we are supporting you all, you are more of the expert of creating Giving Day landing pages than we are. So we want to make sure that, we're connecting everybody. And as I mentioned before, maybe you have a question on an incentive or some wording, or you want to ask our advice about capitalizing on a donor you may have, or May 21st comes and you register on May 21st. And you've put all your resources into updating your pages and you still have some basic questions, we'll be there to help. And again, many of you are on here probably have already registered, which is great. Though, please share with your nonprofit colleagues in the community at large that May 21st is the registration deadline. And that just gives us time on the back end to ensure everybody is donatable, your profiles are good to go. And we have all the documentation we need for afterwards, which is the best part of distributing the funds back to you. So with that, I think that is it. So I don't know if Dana and Maggie, you want to start going through the questions we can all help and answer?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to start. We have how do factors challenge into matching funds? For example, we have a donor who will match all day. If we're able to secure challenges, how does that affect the match? So matches and challenges are a little bit two different distinct things. You know, a match is when it's dollar for dollar, whereas challenges where the prize is unlocked at a certain stage. So for instance, you might have a donor that says, I'm going to match dollar for dollar up to $1,000. So the first $1,000 you receive will be matched for each one. Then you might have another donor that says, well, if you raise $1,000, we'll give you $500. So basically that $500 is unlocked at the point where you reach 1,000, as opposed to being a single one-for-one match. So that's kind of the difference between a match and a challenge. And I know they're kind of, it can be a little bit confusing, but again, they're two distinct things, and there is some great articles on GiveGab about that.
Yeah, and Maggie, they might want to also reach out to GiveGab, because I don't know if this is what they're thinking, because I'm not in their brain. However, you have a match, right? A challenge, I'm sorry. You have a challenge that says once $1,000 is raised, $1,000 is released, if you would. How does that $1,000 then play into an overall match if that donor said, I'll match all day? I don't know, that I'm not a GiveGab expert as I'm speaking it. I don't think that would count per se, because that would almost be double dipping. You know, because you already, that 1,000 that's released is technically an incentive or a match. So so you can't have that challenge then be matched again, if that makes sense.
Right. So if you have both a match and a challenge, I would definitely work with GiveGab to figure out how exactly that's going to end up getting calculated. But most organizations probably are only going to have like a match or a challenge, or maybe a match and, you know, but if you have both and you're not sure how they play in together, that's a good question for GiveGab to help work through that. There's another question. They have a large donor match available. If they set it up through GiveGab, will fees be deducted from the match dollars? No, they will not, because if you're adding it into the system, the way that Vivian showed at the beginning of this presentation, and if you didn't get to catch that, we will be posting this up on our YouTube page and sharing it on NEPA Gives. So we encourage you to go back and rewatch how matches are added, but they are treated like offline donations, and as such you are able to keep 100% of that gift, in which case they are then cutting the check directly to you for that amount. If a donor says I'm going to match, but they're going online, then you do not want to add them in as an offline donation, because it's going to then create a duplicative effect where it's counting an offline plus a online, and they'll both be recorded even though it's really only one donation. So your numbers won't be accurate. So basically 99 out of 100 times you're going to want the donor to let you know, and then to be treated as an offline donation. In the off chance that they do decide they want to go online and do that, well, please don't enter them in, and also know that fees will be assessed on those online donations. So you will not get the full match. It'll be minus any fees. Another question is, does the sponsor of the matches donate through GiveGab site, or directly to the organization at the end? Hopefully I just answered that. It would go directly to the organization at the end as an offline donation. There's a question, a donor gives 500 cash for a match. How is that entered for a match offline by us? Again, that was gone through at the beginning of this presentation. So we would encourage you to rewatch once it's posted. Should be posted by the end of today on our site and on our YouTube page to go back and watch. Those instructions were provided at the beginning of the session. Another question is, if a match is $500 and only $300 is raised, is the donation of $300 doubled? So 300 of those dollars would be raised. So you get 300 online donations, you'll get 300 from the match, you'll end with 600 in total. You will not get the remaining portion of that. So if you only raise 300, you won't get 500 matched, at least not in the system. It would have to be recorded elsewhere if the donor decided to just donate the additional 200 instead, be treated as a separate offline donation. Again, if you have a circumstance like that, we would definitely encourage you to reach out to GiveGab to help work through how that should be recorded. Is it acceptable for the matching donor to mail their matching gift check immediately following June 4th? Yes, absolutely. Know that the check will be recorded as an offline donation automatically when you enter it as a match in your profile, as Vivian explained earlier. Another question is, can you tell us a bit more about the telethon? Where will people see it and when? So we're working through a lot of those details right now. Most of you would have received the email about us doing the recording. We're going to be doing those recordings at the Hilton with Posture this week. And we're working through the exact timing of it. It will be available on our GiveGab live site. So you should be able to see that right from GiveGab to see the live performance. We should also have it on our YouTube page as well as on Facebook. But again, we're working kind of through those technical details. But the shortest, cleanest answer is you should be able to see it on GiveGab on our NEPA Gives page as part of our NEPA Gives Live. That's all the questions that I can see here. Again, I heavily encourage you to reach out to GiveGab if you have specific questions. Also encourage you to view their support page when you're logged in. At the top right, there's also a support button. If you search things, like if you search challenge, for instance, you'll see all their articles about what a challenge is and how to enter those. So definitely encourage you to use that. Actually, Vivian, you can see right there, if you go back to where you were, at the top right, yep, you click support and there's a nice little search box that comes up there. So anything you might have a question on as far as match or challenge or prizes, if you search in there, you will see all the articles related to that will help you understand the differences between those.
Yeah, and then once you clicking them too, they'll also be up here. You can go back to, where that came from. So, you can get lost in this page, as I have many times, but the great part of it is that you will find your answer. And if you can't find it, again, right down here, hi, Vivian, the blue chat bubble will give you, this is live time. Obviously, I'm on the internet right now, so send us a message under 30 minutes. They'll be getting back to you. You could also do it here again. If, this is also, if you forget where to get the help thing, you can look there. You can put it right here. My internet will cooperate with me. It will just pull from this information is pulling from here. So you'll be able to find out or, send them a message at that point.
Exactly. So either use the support link at the top right of the page or the chat bubble on the bottom right of the page. Either way, they'll be able to help answer a lot of these questions. If you've gone to GiveGab and there's still a question, if it's something that's very specific to NEPA Gives, then please, feel free to reach out to us at this point. It's just really important to keep in mind that we have, as Vivian mentioned, over 200 organizations that are looking for support. So it's a little difficult for us to handle all of the questions that might come in. So as much as you're able to utilize GiveGab's support network, we appreciate that. And it allows us to continue working to get things out to you, our prize list and the promotions that we're doing region-wide. So we're busy working on those things. So please reach out to GiveGab when you have questions.
Yeah, Dana, any parting words? The excitement's building in us. So again, reach out to Dana or I, or join us on our last call, which will be about 2 weeks before NEPA gives. And, you know, everybody have fun with it. And we can't wait to see what you all do with your giving day. So thank you so much for joining us. And as Maggie said, this will be up and we'll get it out as soon as we can because we know it's of important content. So thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.